Yo, this is Big Jake reporting live. Hey, with another story. Hey, hey, about about a about a young man who loved cars, and and had to drive around in one at a very very young age, just to save his family. Sit back and relax and enjoy. One time, there was a young man named Jesse who loved cars. His father owned a car dealer's. His mom was a nurse. But his parents got divorced. But his parents were divorced because the relationship just didn't work out. So Jesse kept in contact with his father and helped out his mother whenever he can. His mom was always away at work because she had gotten promoted. So she and Jesse did not have that much of a relationship. He's a white boy, but he mostly hung out with black people. And so, but he loved cars, and loved working on them. Cadillacs, glass Escalades, any kind of car you could think of, even hot rods and dualies. One time he was outside working on a dually. This story was back when he was 10 years old. He was working on a dually and just having fun doing it. It was so cool that he was so fascinated of what he could do. He was even thinking about taking over his father's car dealers or building a car dealer of his own, but he doesn't really know yet. So he decided he's going to take some time and think about it and just be himself. So he just kept hanging out with his friends and fixing cars and everything and just being him. But one time when he got home, he realized his house had been broken in. He looked around in the house and his mom was nowhere to be. He looked around his house, but his mom was nowhere to be found. And then his grandmother pulled up and decided to take her back to his house. And the grandma had already sent out a search party for his mom. So Jesse was about to climb into his grandma's car, but all of a sudden a group of bad guys came in with a lot of muscle cars and tried to capture him. But the grandma was able to protect him long enough for him to get in the car. The grandma was having a hard time fending him off, but she was able to hold him off long enough to give Jesse her keys, and she told him to drive off. At first, Jesse was refusing because he's only 10 years old. He just doesn't know how to drive. The grandma said, "Do not worry. Your uncle will meet you halfway, and will block your view, so no one will see you driving. He has a big truck that will block your view so no one will see you driving. And you won't get arrested. Trust me, honey. And so Jesse jumps into the driver's seat, and without asking another question, he was able to drive off and get away as fast as he could. And 4 trucks was able to come in and block his view. And that was his uncle and his friends. And so his uncle and his friends and surround him halfway through so no police would see him driving. And so he goes out on a search. But first, he gets settled down in his grandma's house. His grandma didn't come back that night because she was captured by the bad guys. And so, the police starts looking for clues. The police tries their best, but just couldn't find any clues. The bad guys had set up a lot of fake clues for the cops to find. So, the cops never get anywhere. So Jesse decides to take matters in his own hands. And he tells his uncles he needs to go find his mother and grandmother for himself because the cops are having bad luck right now. At first, the uncles were refusing, but Jesse kept on insisting that he go and find them himself and that the uncles would help him. Finally, the uncles agreed and helps Jesse look for clues and everything. And so Jesse was driving his grandmother's hot rod. It was a big engine and could move fast. He kept on looking and finding the real clues and doing a lot of research on those bad guys. It looks like they were set up by an evil organization. That threatened to take every single nurse. Because you see, there was a patient at his mom's job that had a very deadly virus that there's only one cure for. His mom knew the cure, and so she was about to give it up to the patient. But it turned out that the patient is actually one of the evil organization's enemies and did not know enemies and knew and did not and wanted him dead. And so they captured the mother and try to lock her up forever. And so Jesse decides to find the evil organization's headquarters and get the antidote from his mother. He looks them up, and it turns out they're all the way in Los Angeles. And so Jesse just drives over there as fast as he could in the hot rod. And he gets the antidote from his mother. His mother says, honey, you need to hurry up and get this antidote to the man. And it's the only thing that can save him. But you need to hurry. He only has 8 hours left to live. So Jesse gets the antidote from his mom and rushes all the way back to to San Diego. Oh, just in the bad guys was following him, trying to chase him and everything, try to get him to crash and everything, but Jesse was able to avoid them, and set up traps for them that tipped over the cars, and crashed into the walls and into the waters. Just in the nick of, just by that inch, he was able to get to the patient. He was able to get the cure to the patient, and the patient was healed. And so Jesse told the man all about what had been happening and why they captured his mother and his grandmother. The man swears that he would help. And so they go, after a few days of resting, they decide to go with Jesse down to Los Angeles. He decides to go with Jesse down to Los Angeles. The bad guys were following him, but the man gets a gun and shoots off the tires. Making all the bad guys' muscle cars smash into stuff. And so, and also, Jesse makes it to his father's car dealers, decides to get better cars, because the hot rod had actually had it, and couldn't run anymore. And so Jesse gets a Ford Fiesta from his father, and the man gets. So Jesse gets the Dodge from his Charger. So Jesse gets a Dodge Charger, and the man gets a Ford Fiesta, and they rush all the way off to Los Angeles to go fight the evil organization. The man was able to fight off the bad guys, and decides to go after the villain. Jesse was able to find his mother and free her. And by the way, Jesse's friends also helped too. They were also driving fast cars too. The bad guy found Jesse and his mother and threatened to shoot him, but the man decides to go off. But the man catches the bad guy and was able to kick the gun out of his hand. And so Jesse and his mom were safe, but the bad guy was getting away. And so the man jumps into his own fast car and tries to make his getaway. Suddenly Jesse blows a whistle, screaming charge at the bad guy, and Jesse and his friends jump into their Dodges and race after jumps into their Dodge Chargers and races after the bad guy, with the man next to him in the Ford Fiesta. With the extra equipment, they put on the boosters. and was able to catch up with the bad guy. With as full throttle as the car went, Jesse was able to smash into the bad guy's car, flipping the car up and over, up and over, up and over, up and over, until it crashed into a wall. Oh, the bad guy wasn't hurt, but the bad guy wasn't hurt. I wasn't dead. I meant the bad guy wasn't dead, but his leg was broken. And so the bad guy got captured, and Jesse's mom was safe. The bad guy was captured, and Jesse, his mom, and his grandma were safe. And so 10-year-old Jesse, was able to save his family and was able to decide what he wants to do. He decided he wants to be a car dealer because he super loved cars. And believe me, he did not think at his age of 10, he did not think in a million years that he was going to have to save his mother by driving a car. And that, my friends, is the story and that, my friends, is the story of KidsSpeed. KidsSpeed. The end. Hit subscribe if you want to hear more stories. And make sure you create social unity, because the world needs more of it. And make sure you comment down below. Leave your comments down below, because I'll need them. I need to know how you guys think. Because that story, tell me what you think of it. I would like to know. This is Big Jake signing off. Peace out.